Good morning, St. Francis. Good morning, people of God. It is Monday, the 4th day of September, 2023, Monday of the 22nd week of the year, the 22nd week in Ordinary Time. And this Monday of September the 4th is also Labor Day. So happy Labor Day to everyone, the last of our summer holidays, but not yet the end of summer, at least 2 more weeks, or a little less than 2 more weeks left to enjoy everything that is summer before glorious fall enters in. It is a hot one today. It's going to get hotter. Humidity is coming back here in the Carolinas. It's awful and terrible, so I need to get inside in a minute. But here I am at the Franciscan Garden, again, as it continues to take shape, continues to come into its own. And one of the things I did not point out before, but want to point out to everybody today, in case you have not seen it. So 2 installations have been put in. One is St. Francis on a log, which I kind of showed a little bit. But the other one is this mosaic, St. Clare, which is over here. We haven't really ever had a nice depiction of Clare, so here it is right over here. And this depiction is very different because generally Clare is shown as the potted plant of St. Francis, holding a wilting lily or whatever it is, looking shy and demure, quiet, not going to make any rustles or any waves or anything else like that, which is totally unlike what the sources say that Clare was. And so there is this depiction of Clare called the Tavola, which kind of means large table or something like that in Italian, but it's in the Basilica of Santa Chiara in Assisi, and it does not depict her as the wilting flower of St. Francis. It depicts her as a strong, dynamic personality. She does not look down as she does in other depictions. She looks straight ahead with confidence, and she holds in her hand this staff, a staff with a cross on top of it, which is a staff of wisdom, because that is what Clare represents, the wisdom of the Franciscan order. In many ways, the first example, or the first affirmation of the wisdom of the Franciscan order. She, again, was somebody who did not let popes and bishops and other men tell her what to do. She established the poor Clares in a way beyond what Francis perhaps could have envisioned, writing her own rule of life for them and not taking any rule that had been written for her by silly popes and silly bishops and whatever it is. And so that courageous dynamism of Clare as kind of an equal founder of this Franciscan movement is represented by this depiction. And fittingly enough, again, it fits the centerpiece between the pergolas, the little awnings that we have here in the Franciscan Garden. So it's very nice to have that mosaic there of Clare. The other installation that I kind of depicted from far, I showed you from far away because there were families coming in for preschool at that point. Again, is this statue of Francis on the log, and the with a lamb, although we want it to be a wolf sometimes, people make it into a dog. But there he is. There's St. Francis with birds around him, and a log that you can sit on the side over there. I have done so, but it's too hot to sit on it today. But again, these 2 pieces that are just the beginnings of what will become the much larger Franciscan Garden here at the Catholic community of St. Francis. Our readings for today, Thessalonians continues, and here we have the most wonderful affirmation that Paul gives of life after death. And it occurs in Thessalonians, the earliest of the letters, that we have perhaps from St. Paul. And it makes the statement that, you don't mourn and cry out of loss and emptiness because people you love have gone beyond, but to remember that, again, because God is all in all, that unity with Christ is what is designed even after we die. And so it affirms the fact that life continues. And it makes this very tangible proclamation in this letter to the Thessalonians. The thing about it is, again, it talks about a gathering. It talks about, the point is that everything will be all in Christ. There is the point in which it talks about bodies being raised and, uniting with people in the clouds and running, and people floating up into heaven. And we get this whole idea of rapture, which is just ridiculous and absurd. So we get to interpret it like that, because then rapture goes into the whole idea that some people will be raptured, others will be not. And that's not what we profess. Other Christian traditions jump on board with this for some strange reason, but we don't do this. Again, the whole point is life continues, and life continues because it finds its origin in God, and God lets nothing die. important for us to constantly remember always. In the gospel today, we depart from Matthew and we finally go to another gospel, Luke, and it's the beginning of Jesus' ministry in Jerusalem in Luke's gospel, in which he goes into the synagogue, he unrolls the scroll of the scriptures, and he proclaims Isaiah 4, which basically talks about that the servant who is going to free people from slavery and from unjust situations and liberate captives, announce the year of favor to the Lord, has finally occurred. And Jesus says, this is now fulfilled in your hearing. And everybody thinks it's just so wonderful and great. And then Jesus goes on and destroys everything by telling people that they just don't understand and they're kind of stupid and they're not going to respect him anyway. And then they want to kill him. So on Sundays, when we hear this gospel, we only hear it to the point of the amazement of the people. But this, again, is the second part of it, which again shows that people just can't be amazed by something. They have to kind of begin to reflect upon it and think about it and allow it to enter into their hearts as to what does this mean. Again, they say, where did he get all this wisdom? Is this not the carpenter's son? You know, how could he talk with such eloquence and things like that? And Jesus realizes they're missing the whole point, and so he basically slams them, and then they want to kill him. But the whole idea for us is to remember that things that seem incredible and amazing, because they reside with God and that they come from God, then they are true, and they will happen, and they will come to pass, and there will be wonder and glory for us. We have to believe that it is not a fantasy. It is not just telling us something nice, but it is where our lives are directed, knowing that God fulfills God's promises, and to see where God fulfills God's promises in our midst is our duty and our responsibility as believers in this world. A blessed day, St. Francis and people of God. May the Lord give you his peace.